What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Roberts, founder and CEO of SpyFu and RivalFlow. One of the things that I do on a daily basis is I go in and I look at people's first run experiences, make sure that everyone's having a good action stream, our recommendations are solid, that the writing projects are looking good, and also now I look at and see what the results are looking like when people are actually connecting their Google Search Console. So I'll go through and I'll look at things, to see that we're getting good results. So when something goes down, I jump in and I look for that right away, right? So here we see a loss of impressions. We have more keywords and more clicks, but a loss in impressions. And so, but the thing is that all, this is like the before and this is the after. And so the drop actually happened before we did the publish. And so it's not really actually attributable. It's just a function of how we are displaying this. So my heart would be like, okay, well that's fine. And that's most of the time what happens when I'm going in and seeing these kinds of things. But one time I did see a drop and when I dug into it, it actually was something that we had caused. It's really the only time that I've ever seen us make a mistake and have it have an impact on somebody's site. Now, it frankly wasn't a big thing, and the customer didn't even notice. It would have been something that looked like, it might have looked like this, right? It might have looked like this, but really it was on a very small page. The reason that happened is these things here actually translate into like H2 and H3 tags. And when we're replacing your content, like we do down in the partially answered, if we replace one of your H2s with an H3, that produces a potential drop, right? And I mean, it's a subtle thing, right? I didn't have any idea that could realistically be happening, or that when we're telling people to copy and paste that the actual markup goes into WordPress and does that exact thing. But we figured it out and we fixed it. And we actually fixed it before any customer ever noticed it. And I just want to in this next little sort of clip, you'll see the three of us talking about how we fixed it and what it means and why it's important for us to pay attention to these things. So have a look. We actually made a recommendation to change an H tag. Can you talk about that a bit, Dan? Dan's the technical SEO side. So talk to us about what can happen here and what you saw and what we fixed.
Yeah, so basically you have what I call your content architecture. When you strip it all down to that outline view, what is your heading 1, what is your heading 2, what is your heading 3? And it should follow like a logical format of H1, then H2. If there's subsections, H3. If there's subsections of those, H4, then it should bounce back to H3, H2, so on. What was happening for a little while there is almost every output was coming out as an H3, and it was telling us in the outline to put in a specific place in the article. If you just drop that in, the understanding was this is a subtopic of the H2 that was right below it. But in a lot of cases, this was an entirely new subject that should have been in H2, starting a new thought or a new piece related to the entire article. And so it was kind of starting to mess up the hierarchy of the content you were seeing there. And that was very important because it just kind of throws off a little bit what you're telling search engines when visually when people are reading the article. Is this still a subtopic of what I was just reading, or is this an entirely new thought? So that was a very, very minor but important piece as an SEO for me to identify.
Yeah, it's subtle but super important.
Dan and I have talked about this. Sometimes it is a brand new H2, and then you need to make sure that it's following the consistent pattern of what you already have in the article. I'm adding an H2, my H3s fall in line very well. What's super cool is I love the fact that I've had a good success rate with that lately. So kudos to the dev team for making sure that the formatting is carrying over, because as I'm pasting in, there are very few times I've had to make any adjustments. It falls right in line. It's either here's a brand new H2 and all the H3s that go with it, or this is simply an H3 that's landing under an existing H2 that you have. So that's been a nice change too.